Everyone, and welcome to another anime pickups video. This is for the second half of August. So, quite a few things here. It's not a huge amount, but a fairly decent sized haul, in my opinion at least. So first of all is something that's not actually strictly anime, but it is related to things, and that's the only figure I got for these last 2 weeks. I don't know if I got any figures last pickup video, so it might be the only one I got this month, but I don't remember, so don't hold me to that. Actually, wait, no, I think I got Nozomi. Anyway, this is the Nendoroid of Kenma, as you can see on the box there, and here he is in his adorableness little thing. I have him sitting with his hand out, so it looks like he is beckoning the little Kuro cat that we have there. Yeah, so he sits with my other Haikyuu Nendoroids. He comes with a bunch of other different expressions and hand parts and all sorts of things that you can expect from Kenma. So yeah, the Haikyuu Nendoroids have been fairly standard for their cute factor and for how quickly they've been released. So yeah, I think the next one coming out is Tsukiyama, who I think is already shipped out. So I think after him is I think Sugawara, because yeah, there's been a lot announced. I know that Kuro from Nekoma has been announced, as well as Akashi and Bokuto from their respective team, and someone else. I think that's it, but the Haikyuu Nendos, I assume, have been selling very well for Orange Rouge and Good Smile in general, so I'm sure we'll see plenty more in the coming months. So on to the anime. The first one I have is a UK Blu-ray release, and this is Anime Limited's Blu-ray release of Gankutsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo. This is in like a steelbook packaging sort of thing. I really, really love this show. It's a very interesting and unique adaptation of the classic novel. As far as for whether or not it makes sense to upgrade to the Blu-ray, I have heard that the actual video quality itself is not, it's not actually any improvement from the DVDs, and in some cases it's a little bit of a downgrade. But I really, really like this packaging as well, and I'm not getting rid of my DVD copies because I do already own the Funimation release of this, but this was on sale and I decided to pick it up because I am such a big fan of the series anyway. And it's always good, I think, to have... I don't think I'm losing anything by getting the Blu-ray edition of this, and I wanted to kind of support Anime Limited's being the first and so far only English Western-speaking release of some older shows. So yeah, Gankutsuo is a great show if you haven't watched it. Like I said, it's based off of the famous classical literature novel of The Count of Monte Cristo, where the book is taken from the Count's perspective. The show is given from Albert's perspective, so it's a little bit different. It is quite different insofar as, although it is aristocratic French society, it's sort of in the future with space, and it's not completely set in space, but there's like weird alien technology and all sorts of things, so it's very strange insofar as that's very much a part of it. There's like mecha fencing duels and all sorts of things, but it's really intriguing. And if you haven't read the novel or you don't know much about it, it is a story of well, it's sort of a breakdown and look into the follies of aristocratic society and kind of the downfalls of high society in general. And of course, most notably, a tale of revenge. And the show is phenomenal. I highly recommend it, even if you don't know the book that it's based off of. This one is one that I think has something for everyone and is just fantastically done. Next is another anime limited release, and that is the first release of Durarara ×2 or show. This is the first arc of the second season. These UK releases don't have the Aniplex only OVAs, but I thought with the amount of money I'm saving getting these releases comparatively to importing the US releases, I didn't mind skipping over or missing out on some OVAs that aren't really plot relevant. So in these releases, it is quite typical as per usual. We have the outer chipboard sleeve. Then we have the digipack, which has line art for similar cover stuff, and the 2 Blu-ray discs themselves. There's also a book with some of the line art that we see from this digipack, with a bunch of episode breakdowns and characters and artwork at the back there. Durarara, the second part of it, is, I think, different from the first half, and I've seen a lot of fans not really like the second season parts. This is just the information sheet that was on the back. We have stickers, and then we have a whole bunch of postcards, which are very much in the style that the original like extras and DVDs and sort of things were in. I'm not going to take them out because it is a pain to get them back in. But nice little extra there. I'm not sure whether the US release had this sort of stuff. I haven't stayed on top of the US release for Durarara. But Durarara was never my favorite of the 2 of Naruta's works. I was always much more a Bakuno fan. But I said earlier as well to someone on Twitter, Durarara is much more a series where it is the interaction of ideologies comparatively to the interaction of characters. There are a lot of weird and wonderful and strange characters in Durarara, human and non. And of course with the second season part, we are introduced to even more characters, so our large cast grows ever larger. In saying that, if you're not... it doesn't have the greatest characters, but it has some interesting things to say about humanity in general, and as well as being kind of an open letter to the sort of almost underground and dark parts of all of us that we have and society in general. So anyway, Durarara, I think you should watch the second season if you really enjoyed the first. Like I said, I was never the biggest fan of Durarara the first season. I did enjoy it, but comparatively to Bakuno, it was not my favorite. With the change from, or shift from Brain Space to Studio Shuka, the art design did change a little bit. The character design is a bit more reflective of the novel character design, but once you get used to it, it's not like that jarring. Although it is kind of a shock at the beginning. But all in all, I did actually really like this first arc. I thought the characters introduced were very interesting. We learned a lot more about some of the older characters as well as how they interact with the new characters. And yeah, I do think it's worth a watch. I was looking forward to this and it took a while to get to me, but I'm glad I have it now. Next is actually a US release, and this is the US or Viz Media release of Sailor Moon Crystal, or Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Crystal. I have not watched all of this. I think I've watched like 12 or 13 of these episodes out. This first box is the first 14 episodes. I'm sure many of you know what is in here, but we have a book which has just a bunch of episode breakdowns and art and character things as per usual. We have a bunch of art cards which are reflective of the Japanese DVD and Blu-ray artwork. And we also have the case itself with the DVDs and Blu-rays. I have said this before, but I have no real nostalgia for classic Sailor Moon. I was a little bit... I wasn't a bit old for it, but I was never allowed to watch television before school, which is when Sailor Moon would always be airing. So I missed out on it compared to some of my peers. But yeah, I've always found it fairly interesting. I've read the manga, and I've seen some of classic, but with this new Sailor Moon Crystal, I know it's not perfect, but it's been kind of an easier and less intimidating way for me to get into the series, as the original classic series has over 200 episodes, and this is much more compact within 14, 12, and I think 25 episode chunks, so, or 13 episode chunks, I don't know. But it's a little easier for me personally to digest, and the release itself is very beautiful. I think packaging wise, Viz has done a lovely job on both this and classics physical releases. Of course, the video problems with classic is the biggest issue, but the boxes themselves look gorgeous, so yeah. Next is actually a DVD I got with a manga, which probably tells you what it is already. And this is the No Regrets Part 2 DVD that came with Volume 19's special edition. Obviously, the most recent Attack on Titan OVA released by Kodansha. This is the second half of the Levi backstory, and yeah, fairly standard, and I think it follows the manga like 2-volume arc that it's based off of very well. If you're a fan of Attack on Titan, you're probably already getting this. If not, it is worth the watch, and I'm not sure that another company will ever pick these up. So the fact that they're available via Kodansha in a physical release on DVD is something that is like pretty rare, and I'm glad that we're getting it. And next are 2 other DVD releases. These are actually empty at the moment because the discs have gone somewhere else, but that is Volume 2 and Volume 4 of God Save Our King Kyo Caramel Season 2. So my Kyo Caramel collection is now complete. Yeah, so the discs have actually gone into the Season 2 collector's book digi pack thing. And these are just the empty cases that we used to hold the discs, and this is actually how the show was initially released in these single volumes. So yeah, and then next is a Australian release. I may have mentioned it before in my last pickups video, but this is Love Live! The School Idol movie. So this is the Blu-ray release. It's in a DVD sized case here in Australia. And like the other, if it would come out, the other limited edition releases of this show here, we have the slip box thing. We have a booklet and a couple art cards, fairly standard. These actually didn't come in the slipcase itself. And then this is the book. We have more art cards which did come into the case. These are different characters, obviously, in the same sort of costume design outfit, and the disc itself. But the larger art cards were actually the sides of the filler box, because with this release it actually came with a chipboard box to hold the 2 seasons and movie together, which was one of the big reasons I got this this release pretty much immediately, comparatively to having waited so long for the actual seasons releases. And here is that box. We've got a group shot with all the girls on there. On the top we have Muse. On the side we have Love Live, the School Idol movie and limited edition. And on the back we have the girls again in sort of Polaroid headshots. And we have the 2 seasons and the film all together. So that's the complete Love Live collection that I now have. I'm glad that it's in there and finished and I can watch it whenever I want. It does have subtitles and dub on there. And yeah, so just glad to have the whole series on Blu-ray now. And Madman was very kind to and considerate in giving us an additional box for that release. And finally, it's something that is a bit of an oddball. I do have other parts coming, but I'm not sure when. And that is Marmalade Boy Ultimate Scrapbook Volume 2. This is a pretty well-known shoujo series, one of the overly dramatic types. As you can see, released by Tokyo Pop many, many moons ago. And comes with the chipboard outer box and then an inner digipack with 3 discs. This contains, I believe, episodes 20 to 38, so the kind of first part of the show. There's 4 of these scrapbooks. The first one is fairly easy to find, so the 3rd and 4th are a little bit harder to find, or a lot harder to find, but I have found them, so I am, like I said, getting them. I just have not received them yet. And this is secondhand, so it's a little bit beat up, but not too much that it will impact my watching or enjoyment. And that was everything that I got anime-wise this month. Quite a mix, I think, both DVD and Blu-ray. A lot of collector's box sort of things. And yeah, so a good range, I think, of actual series being bought, some older and some newer. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been my anime pickups video for the second half of August. I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye till then.